I think we can start now. We can start. Thank you very much, our attendees, our special guest tonight. And tonight, inshallah, we will go about this seminar or webinar. It's about the entrepreneurship and technology. And we have the guests from Bahrain and from Sweden. And we will start with Mr. Anmar, or Dr. Anmar, inshallah, soon. Anmar is a PhD candidate in entrepreneurship and innovation. He is from Lully University of Technology in Sweden. He is a teacher of innovation management, strategic business development, advanced project management, and congratulations, Anmar, on awards of Teacher of the Year 2020 from the Student Union, Lully University of Technology. So our first part with Mr. Anmar will be about innovation in the era of digitalization in Sweden. And worldwide, of course. Sweden is an example of it. So we'd like to welcome you, Anmar, to this session, inshallah. And we will touch some of the area that our attendees will get benefit from it. And as you know, we are Bahrain SMEs Society. It is a pioneer in this in the charity or NGO in Bahrain since 1999 almost. And hopefully to get benefit. And be frankly, if there are a question in Arabic or English, the main language is English, but don't be state our attendees to ask any question. So we will start with Anmar. After that, we will have about 5 to 10 minutes Q&A. And after that, we will start with Mr. Nawaf Q&A, and it will be open discussion later on. Thank you very much. And I open the floor for you, Mr. Anmar, to continue. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Raed, for the invitation, and thanks to SME Society for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I'm not sure if do you see my video as well, or is it just?
We can see it's clear, yeah.
Okay, good, yeah. Because for some reason let's just. Okay, so thanks again for the invitation. I am Anmar Kamalaldin, PhD candidate in entrepreneurship and innovation. In my final year doing the PhD at Luleå University of Technology. It's very far in the north of Sweden. And today I titled my session with innovation in the era of digitalization, examples from Sweden. So you might be wondering, what is the little logo in the right corner, begin? It is actually an acronym for the research project that I'm working for here at Luleå University. The full title of the project is Digital Innovation of Business Models. So basically we are researching digitalization from business perspective rather than from the technical side. This slide summarizes the logic of the research project. So basically, we are looking to digitalization as an enabler to sustainable industry. We believe that digital technologies have created opportunities to gain economic, environmental, and social benefits. However, we realize that the key challenge that companies are struggling with is how to profit from digitalization, how to design a business model with digitalization. So the digital innovations are there. There are advanced technologies, but how to work with it, how to profit from it, how to make business out of it is the missing puzzle. And this is what I would like to talk about today, a focus on business model innovation and how digitalization can enable that. So I think the two key questions that I will focus on today is, what is a business model and how is digitalization impacting business models? But of course, I'm happy to discuss any further points in the Q&A afterwards. So to start with, if you look into different books, business textbooks, you would find different definitions of what a business model is. If you ask different practitioners, they will also give you different definitions. So there is some lack of clarity around the business model concept. And like, as you can see in the slide, these are some definitions, a reflection of the firm's realized strategy, stories that explain how enterprises work, the logic that connects technical potential with the realization of economic value. Business model concept and many times is used interchangeably with other terminology like strategy, like revenue model, business processes, but these are not exactly the same. Yes, there are overlaps. There are overlaps, for example, between business model and strategy, but the business model is actually the implementation of the strategy. How do we make this strategy happen? Revenue model, yes, it is part of the business model, but it's not only, it is not the only part of a business model. So like the question here is like really how to innovate the business model, how to move from A to B, how to change our business model, for example, from a product-oriented business model to a service-oriented business model. I think, and this is really what business model innovation is all about. So if you do a quick Google search and to try to find tools and frameworks to conceptualize and work with business models, you will find like more than 100. In the literature, we have found more than 100 definition or tool or framework to conceptualize business models, and they are all valid, and so basically you might choose whatever works for you, what you find more simple or practical to use. However, for today's session, I would like to present the way we in our research project define the business model, because we believe this is like a simple way to capture the business model concept. And this is the definition that you find on the slide. A business model defines the ways an organization creates, delivers, and captures value, or so-called the magic triangle. So in a brief, it revolves around three key aspects: value delivery, or how you create value for your customer; value creation, what value are you creating for customer; and value capture is like, why are you creating this value? What benefits you're gonna gain out of it? And I'm going to go through each aspect of this triangle in some more details with some examples. But the most important aspect to remember here is to place the customer in the center. That's what we have to always think about. And another thing that should be emphasized is that all these three elements should work together. They should align. They are not separate, and naturally they overlap. So again, I think this this framework is kind of simple. It helps to kind of promote higher level discussion without going into the specific details, yet it still gives a holistic perspective of what your business model could be. So let's start with value creation, the what. What value are you creating for your customer? So here you have to think about the value proposition. What unique customer needs are you addressing by providing your product or service? What's different in your proposition to the customer? So here I would like to use an example from Epiroc, which is a Swedish, or at least it is one of our partners in the project, at least the Swedish branch of it. They are a manufacturer of mining equipment. And so instead of simply offering mining equipment or undermine loaders, they are proposing autonomous loaders. So basically, it addresses the aspect that humans should be removed from dangerous mines and replaced with autonomous vehicles. And so the proposition that Epiroc provides to their customer, the mining companies, is that you will have autonomous loaders that can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the value proposition, so they are selling 24/7 availability. So they are not simply selling the loader or the vehicle, but rather the outcome, the guarantee, the availability of 24/7. Moving to the value delivery aspect. So here the question is, how do you deliver the value to the customer? Thinking about what activities do we need to do in order to make this happen? What capabilities do we need to be good at? What skills do we have to learn, or what skills do we have to acquire? And if we don't have the skills or the expertise, what partners do we have to work with in order to make this happen and deliver to the customer? Another example from Sweden, ABB. ABB is a provider of control systems and digital system to large companies, and so they are delivering their services through a digital platform, what they call ABB Ability Marketplace. Through this platform, so basically all the equipment, all the smart equipment are connected to this platform, ABB Ability, and the platform automatically gives a notification to ABB, for example, when an equipment needs maintenance. So they are delivering these digital services through the platform, and naturally ABB had to collaborate with the connectivity partner, or for example, for data analytics and artificial intelligence solutions, they partnered with Microsoft, they have partnered with IBM. So it's important to think about that, that as a company, it is not necessarily that you will have all the resources or all the capabilities to do everything. This is impossible, especially in the digital world. It's very complex, and no single company has all the capabilities and the resources to deliver these complex solutions. So it's important to think about partnerships, about collaborations. In many cases, you might have to partner with some competitors if you find some common grounds and some grounds that would benefit both of you. So moving to the value capture. Basically, value capture is very much about how do we make money. So it explains why should we follow this business model. We only follow this business model and take the risk and put the investments because we want to capture something out of it. So here we speak about the revenue model. How are we going to charge the customer? Is it a one-time fee? Is it a subscription? Is it per hour? So the revenue model is one part of the business model. Another thing to consider: how much costs are we taking, and how is the cost split between partners if different partners are contributing, and how the revenues are shared amongst partners, and how are we managing risk reward, for example, solutions. Are we sharing the risk with our customer? Again, here I'd like to exemplify with a big company, Ericsson, the Swedish company. So in their contract with some telecommunication providers, instead of selling them the station, they would sell them in a way as it is an outcome-based contract. So selling them per capacity, some sort of a capacity guarantee. So the telecom companies only pay per capacity rather than buying the whole station. So it is some sort of a win-win arrangement. And the risk, so basically the customer or the telecommunication companies do not have to worry that having to pay for a station that is not functioning. And we realize nowadays that with digitalization, there is a shift from selling products to selling services, so-called servitization, or in our context, digital servitization. So here, I'd like to touch more specifically on business models in the era of digitalization. What are the specifics that digitalization is affecting the business model? So digitalization is fundamentally changing the way firms create, deliver, and capture value. So it affects the three aspects of the triangle, the business model triangle. So think about the sensors, how the sensors enable generating data, the connectivity, having connectivity and being online and connecting different equipment together. Think about the data analytics, and naturally data has become a valuable resources through the user analytics. You can give a more personalized and customized offering to the customer. But also digitalization is facilitating new collaboration opportunities, and like you would find like collaborations between an automobile with like an IT company in order to facilitate some sort of digital services. And as I mentioned earlier, we can see a big transition towards selling services, because what customers care about is the outcome, the value that they're gonna get of buying the service. So many people do not want to buy a drill. They care only about having a hole in the wall. So is it really necessary that every single flat in a building buys a drill? So this is just one way to exemplify it, but we care about just having a hole in our wall. So we don't need to have a drill always with us. So I'd like to give more examples from Sweden, examples of digital or business model innovations enabled by digitalization. Perhaps I will start with the example on the right side, Spotify. I think it's a very popular app. I'm sure like most of you know about it. Here is Spotify. Basically, the value proposition that provides to the customer is offering them one platform, one place where they can listen to music legally. So especially like many people do not want to buy the whole CD. I mean, and CDs probably are no longer popular. People just want to have the songs ready in their phone and listen to them wherever they are without having to worry about carrying the CD or the cassette previously. So Spotify created this platform that connects the musicians, the artists, the music producers to the customers, the buyers or the listeners of music, and in one place. And if we think about, for example, the value delivery, so these partnerships is part of this value delivery. What partnerships Spotify had to arrange with other partners. With, for example, they had to be in the Apple Store or the Google Play, for example. What partnerships with other than app developers? What partnerships with, for example, also they had part of their delivery is offering some sort of those with talents and want to, I mean, even unpopular people, if they are not necessarily celebrities and want people to listen to their music, then Spotify gave a platform for those as well. And if we think about the value capture, how Spotify is capturing value and making money out of this business model. So basically it offers two options. You can be a free user of Spotify without having to pay anything, but then you get advertisements. So these advertisements obviously are charged by Spotify, and with using the data, they can provide you more personalized advertisements, but also through knowing your taste of music, the data that is generated through you listening to Spotify, they can recommend the music to you and can tailor to your taste, to your wants. And if you, the other option is that there are some paying customers, and these paying customers basically get Spotify without advertisements, but also they get extra features. Like, for example, they are able to download the music, so they don't have to worry about connectivity. They can listen to it on the airplane. Also, I mean, if you could think about it, like another approach is Netflix, basically, while it is not from Sweden per se, but Netflix is also a good example of a digital service, a platform connecting the audience. Basically, you can view the films without having to buy the DVD as we previously used to do. So basically, you pay one-time subscription, not one-time, sorry, a monthly subscription, and each type of subscription provides you with additional features. For example, more users, more or better quality. You get HD if you pay a little bit more. Another example that I would like to highlight is Malmo by bike. Malmo is a city in the south of Sweden, and they created a business model where anyone can rent their bikes. So they have bikes all around the city of Malmo, and through an app in your phone, you can subscribe either monthly or annually, or you can simply take it for a few hours or for a day. And with this subscription, you are able to take a bike, use it, and then return it in any park. So they have parks all around the city. And naturally, digitalization here plays a role, because with the sensors, with these technologies, when a person returns the bike, the system knows that the bike is returned. The system tells you which bike is now unlocked for you to take. So basically, if you think about the value proposition, is they are offering the customers the unique value proposition that those who do not want to buy a bike, those who do not want to worry about transportation and want bikes to be available and returned anytime, they might want it only for an hour or two, then this service is good for you. If you think about the value delivery, you have to think about, for example, what partnerships Malmo by Bike had to arrange. For example, they had arrangements with the municipality of Malmo to allow these parks to be all around the city. Of course, also thinking about the platform, downloading the app through, for example, Apple Store or through the Google Play. So all these arrangements comes into value delivery. If we think about the value capture, as I mentioned, there is subscription. The customer pays per hour, per day, or per month, or pay per year. So these are just examples to show how digitalization is playing a role. But the key thing is to innovate the business model. The technologies are there, but we need to think about what do we do with these technologies? How do we profit from technologies? What is unique in our proposition to the customers? What are we offering the customer? What problem are we solving? Think about Uber. They did not innovate cars. They did not innovate like an app, but the innovation is in the business model, connecting those who want to make extra money by driving and those who want basically delivery based on like cheaper instead of taking the taxi. So innovation is very much about connecting multiple innovations together, connecting multiple ideas together in one thing, in one concept. So it doesn't have to be entirely new, but perhaps putting them together might be something new, something different to the customers. So I would like to conclude with giving you like just some key insights that I hope that you take with. I explained the triangle, the business model triangle, which captures which puts this value for the customer in the center, and enables you to have and like promotes a discussion around what is the value creation, what value are you creating to customer, how are you delivering the value to the customer, and why are you doing that? What value are you going to capture out of this business model? But the important thing is that you have to align. These dimensions have to work together. They have to be aligned together. So, for example, if you are charging a subscription, or for example, if we think about the Malmo by bike, you are charging per hour. You are enabling the function of charging per hour. So therefore, you have to have the digital technologies, the sensors that enable the system to detect that the bike is returned within this time. The system has to be designed accordingly. And then, for example, there is a model that if you don't deliver the bike on time, for example, you are charged or something. So all of these three aspects have to work together and thought of together. As I mentioned earlier, and I would like to emphasize, it is very important to align the interest between your partners. You have to agree on who does what and why, and how is the risk is divided, how is the cost is divided amongst you, how is the profit is going to be divided. So it's important to agree on all these aspects and be open to partnerships, even with competitors. And finally, there is an important thing to bear in mind is business model innovation is very much about experimentation. Experimentation is key for testing new models. Sometimes it takes more than one time. Sometimes you have to run more than one business model in parallel until you figure out what is working best for you. With that, I would like to thank you all for listening. And if you would like to follow the latest updates from the project, the research project I work for, Digital Innovation of Business Model, DIGIN, you can follow our LinkedIn page, DIGIN-LTU. And I'd be happy to answer your questions and have further discussion with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anmar. Thank you, and it was really interesting webinar. You've covered a lot of areas. Looks like business model, digitalization, and we like the examples here, bicycles and the bikes. And I think you missed something, Anmar, which is the IKEA as well. IKEA is one of the leader. They didn't invent anything rather than the business model as well. It's really
exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. And thank you very much, Anmar. And before we move to that questions, thank you very much in behalf of SMEs. I'd like to thank you again.
Thank you.
Yes, be with us, please. Dr.
Yes.
Abdel Hassan, I think just would like to welcome you again. Dr. Abdel Hassan Abu Muhammad. Okay. Otherwise, might be Dr. All right.
أهلا وسهلا. مرحبا دكتور رائد.
هلا دكتورنا.
أهلا وسهلا معك وجميع المتحدثين معك. I think it is technology. I'm trying to open the webcam or the video as well, but it's not opening.
No
anyway,
problem.
at least you can hear me all. ممكن تسمعوني.
Yes.
جزيل الشكر لكم جميعا. الأخ أنمار. Followed your presentation, very nice one, excellent,
شكرا.
very informative. I'm sure that really adds to the knowledge of innovation and entrepreneurship for the business. And I'm sure Nawaf will also have another informative presentation, inshallah. So we are hoping that the SMEs owners learn from such technologies, and this help to transfer from being a normal business owner or a small business owner into an entrepreneur. Because when we talk about entrepreneurship, then we are indeed talking about technology and innovation. And I think this is the winning horse in today's world of business. Any business that needs to leap and have a great success need to catch up with the technology and innovation. Just wanted to thank you all and welcome you on board and all the participants to this important seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Hassan. Thank you very much for this greeting and other attendees as well. I think we'll open the door for the questions, or we can leave it to the end. But if you have any question now, you can raise your hand, or you can ask the mic as well. It will be open. We have about 5 minutes, or we can continue with the next session. All right. I think we can start with the next session. Our valuable guest, Mr. Nawaf Saeed. Again, sorry, if you have any question, you can leave it to the end as well. Mr. Nawaf Saeed, he's a pioneer in IT and consultancy. He's a business management and IT consultant again. He started his career as a multinational award-winning inventor in the field of ICT, in information communication technology, in year 2008 to 2010. He is the owner of Scientics. I think just if I pronounce it well.
That's correct. Scientics.
Yes,
correct.
You are IT person. Okay, so I like it. I tried to memorize it last night, but unfortunately I failed. Okay, consultancy to support business owners and innovators to adapt to transforming markets, rapid change with innovation, technology, and intelligence. Under his leadership, this company was able to work over 200 clients, very nice, from different fields, from SMEs to enterprise, and even government sector becoming. So today's consultancy has worked with almost all public sector, along with over 200 private projects. This company, it's really, we are proud to be with us, Mr. Nawaf. And this is the importance of consultancy, and especially during the COVID and after COVID. And we say the consultant is the in business equivalent to the doctors in medication. So you don't need to just wait to be ill, after that go to the consultant. It should be ongoing. So how to utilize the technology in consultancy and IT, this will be our next session, and it will be interesting again. Thank you very much, Mr. Nawaf, to join us, and you have the floor now. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you as well to the remaining panelists, and special thanks to Dr. Anmar on his beautiful topic and thesis that he's working on with DGN. And I think he hit the nail on the head, especially with the business model. And I think it's a complementing presentation that I'll be giving to his scientific approach on the business model. As you have discussed, I would like to just start my presentation as well. Let's turn on my camera. The cameras are not working. It's okay. Then we'll just proceed without the camera. If the camera is on, I can turn it on. Welcome everybody. I prepared the presentation in Arabic, but I can always present it in English. When I've been first approached to discuss about the technology and consultation, I think it was the right timing as we are trying new techniques with the pandemic ongoing, and the techniques that we're trying to approach in with the market, and we have a few successful records. So what I wanted to do is, rather than talk about theses and ideas, I wanted to bring real examples of cases that we've been worked and show the difference in how technology affected our approach in providing in consultation. So of course, to just start who we are, I think the introduction was very beautiful, presented by the doctor. And I just wanted to say is that we started in 2009, so we have over 12 years of experience, almost 13 years of experience in the market. We started as an IT company, but as we came to understand that adapting technology is not the only step to improve innovation, performance, and things like that, but actually it's the first step to improve the whole business model. And that came into the effect that we started getting involved in that, in enhancing the business models, enhancing the business procedures, which led to changing the whole company strategy. And that is why we came in the year 2014 to become a full-fledged consultancy company where we provide management consultancy and technology consultancy. We always tell people that if you adapt technology, you need to change your business model to adapt to the changing technologies, and to have an innovative approach where your value becomes more easy to be delivered to the client. As we mentioned, we worked with multiple government sectors, multiple private sectors, and enough about us. Let's jump into the topic. Uh, the future. The future is actually something very beautiful. I want to start with a quote from Mr. Alvin Toffler. Mr. Alvin is a well-known technology vanguard in the 90s, and a well-known researcher and ideologist in the impact of technology on business. And he affected and multiple countries such as Singapore, China, and they all give him a credit to the level of advance they reach within technology. The most important quote I just want to go over is that in the recent age of, the 21st century, the illiterates are not those who cannot read and write. Those are who actually cannot learn, dispose of, unlearn, and then relearn. So this is actually one of the fundamentals things that we always find whenever we're adapting to technologies. Just as a quick joke, I remember a client that we were speaking with, and we told us, you can do the transfer online for his customers. He said, in short, my customers will never do online transactions. They're very old and they like to pay cash. I said, give me one shot at it and I'll show you how it happens. In short, he said, I will never use online technology payment. I prefer cash and documented. I said, well, okay, very easy. We can accept cash bank receipts, but what you need to do is first request an email. In the email, you request a meeting. Then we'll open a case number. Based on the case number, we'll decide which is the appropriate date. Then we'll send you back a request to find the document. We gave him a whole lot of a process. By the end of explaining the process, he immediately said, you know what, I'm going to use technology. Just teach me how to do it. I'm not going to the bank. So it's not a matter of learning and unlearning. We discovered it's a matter of the change of mentality, of wanting to learn, to relearn, and then unlearn some of the bad habits. To just start very simply, I love that I started in Bahrain. A lot of people tell me you should be in Silicon Valley and things like that. But the reason I love to start in Bahrain, I started my project in Bahrain, is I was able to be blessed to be surrounded by beautiful Bahraini entrepreneurs. That whenever I had an obstacle, I was able to just directly knock the door, ask a permission to have a consultation, and they would give me a tremendous amount of consultation within a short period of time. And I've utilized that to gain a huge background of knowledge. And that is why I implemented it in my business model. So any client, such as Mr. Hamza Talib, if he would approach my company, we would always provide free consultation. And the reason we do that is because although the consultation process involves a lot of things, but the most important part is the synergy that we would have between the client and the consultant. Uh, we have a saying, you can always bring the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink. That same goes with the consultations. We always try to handpick the successful projects, kind of based on the mentality of the owner. So what we did in the past prior to technology, such as Hamza, is we would sit within a free session and then sign a phase one to go over the nitty-gritty details of their business and their issues, and then to provide a long-term solution, something over 2 months. Now, with that being said, Mr. Hamza Talib has had a huge success in his business. He had the main issue that we find was the business model itself. I don't want to get into the details of the business model. I think Dr. Anmar hit it on the nail. But in general, his business model was, or I wouldn't say the business model, in general, his concept was, I'm going to provide high quality services for a lower cost, which is in general never can happen if it was a handcrafted or a specialized service. So what we did is, if you want high quality, it has to be expensive. That's the main thing that we changed, and that actually flourished his business, flourished the business model that he had. He started creating collaboration, as Dr. Anmar mentioned, that you have to have a synergy and collaboration between you and your partners. So what we did is, because you're now a more luxurious, high professional service, then you need to tie up with event planners, to tie up with the royal court, with the marketing companies, and provide your services as part of a complementing service to them, which made a huge transfer in his business. The same thing we did is with the new generations as well. And I think this story is actually the story that enabled us to go into the web. When we worked with Hamza, it took us maybe 2 months to come up with everything. But what we did with this story is something very amazing. This is Khalifa Shwaitar. As you can see in the top right, he was a university student, and he had a senior project. And he met his partner, Newton Consultants, which offered him 5,000 Bahraini dinars for partnership for 30% of equity to launch his seniors project, as it's a real project. So with that being said, what he did is he asked around, knowing that he need a consultant or an implementer for his technology company to develop his mobile application. When he reached us through research and finding, when we sat with him, we told him, look, after explaining what I just explained, he said it on his behalf. We told him, look, 5,000 doesn't cut it for a mobile application company. But I don't want to take a lot of your energy. I'm going to ask you to pay me through a cup of coffee. Buy me a cup of coffee. We're going to sit for 2 hours. I'm going to discuss a few things with you. We're going to do a quick feasibility study. We're going to do a quick business model review, and then take it back to your investor. If he still wants to invest, invest. If not, pull the plug. That's my advice. And that's what we did. Within 2 hours, he invited me to Coffee Republic as a fresh graduate. We did these practices, which is an experiment from my behalf to see how can I transfer these 2 months long practices into a shorter duration, so that they can be technology enabled, so that we can provide the consultation through the internet rather than having face to face, to expand our operation from Bahrain to Kuwait, to Qatar, to KSA, to Emirat, to Saudi Arabia, but mainly Saudi Arabia. With that being said, the outcome was that he needed 30,000 Bahraini dinars. And with those documents, he went, within 2 days, he came back and he got that investment. And the reason he got that investment is because he applied the right tools. So what we did is we thought there are multiple cases of Khalifas in the market, those who have a great idea, a great concept, but they're kind of going to start in the wrong direction. So how can we find these people? How can we approach them? Of course, the utilization of technology, utilization of marketing. And what we did is, as a consultant, we always go back to the right people. So we went to the marketing companies and we said, you know what? We're going to utilize the pandemic, where everyone is now more focused on having a consultation through the internet. And we're going to try to approach Saudi Arabia. And we don't know who's our client. We don't know if he's a he or a she. But what we know is I created a module using existing modules and tools that within few minutes, few minutes, I mean 2 hours. Within a couple of hours, we might come up with the most lucrative result of consultation. And being an innovative consultancy firm, where we focus mainly on innovation, that's our role. We try to focus on enhancing the innovation. So I think the startups, SMEs, will be mostly interested into this. So we created a free webinar called Tijara Allamatni, which we launched in Saudi Arabia, and we're still launching in Saudi Arabia. And what we do is we explain to them the key aspects, and we had three main key aspects. The first of all is the I'm I'm sorry, I think my computer is stuck. 1 second. Okay. Sorry. We went through that very quickly. So what we did is we went through the 4 pivots that we always sought to have in any business successful in the modern age. You have to have innovation, you have to have professionalism, you should have duty, and then you should have an identity and stick with it. And with these 4 pivots, you'll be able to develop a proper strategy, a proper business model, a proper revenue generation. And the best way to put that in practice is to utilize the business canvas model, where we use it in every scenario possible. Was it a government entity or a private sector? The reason we're using this is to make sure that we have captured all the information, the minimum margin of error. But what we did in our company as well, we also improved the business canvas because we saw that there is something missing. And as Dr. Anmar, or inshallah, Dr. Anmar mentioned, the core value was missing. The values that are people seeking, and how is that connected, and how is it focused on the customer as well. So that's why we sort of in enhancing that model and focusing on those niche to enhance the whole model itself into something more innovative. And of course, technology does not just enhance a model, and technology is a necessity. It's something that becomes as a pen and a paper in everyday office. The second thing we do is we created a mini tool called the feasibility study. This is just one of the sheets. It's an Excel document that by filling the basic information, it will give you a significant indicator if your business model makes sense or not, on a revenue and financial level. It would give you specific numbers and percentages. Of course, we have all of these in Arabic and English, but I thought the presentation was in Arabic due to my miscommunication. So I made everything in Arabic. And the last thing is what we did it because every startup wants to know is to have an investor summary. So we made different of equations that would enable the startups to understand very quickly what he should be pitching to the investor and what he should expect in return. He should not expect the full funding. He should expect it on a phased level. So when we took all of those models together and put them together, we were able to create different tools. And what we did is through this free webinars, we were able to catch up ideas that have not been turned into businesses. We've been able to capture businesses that are starting up, but facing some difficulties, and they need the right question, like how do I price my product? How do I beat my competitor? And all of these tools are the initial tools to solve this issue. And as they can see, there are innovative ideas that come back for more consultation. And I believe, although the pandemic caused the need for consultation, I've noticed that it was more difficult getting people to believe that they need a consultant before the COVID. But in COVID, they felt that they need the consultation much more easier. So the sales are higher in the consultation department, but maybe the margins a bit lower due to the effect that everyone's been affected in Corona. But again, it's demand and supply. So with that, what we did is we created different tools for different phases, and each one has a different approach. And it's technically 6 years of practice in the consultation field with different and hundreds of clients that we were able to create these. And we became more flexible to provide consultation on a short term through the internet. And by having these practices and recorded sessions where they will be able to understand to apply these tools and then submit the tool so that I can review it in 5 minutes rather than teaching them face to face or on a long duration. In return, we will be able to have a higher maximum yield. And that's why I always recommend for consultants in the new age is to go on a digital platform. It's much more difficult than face-to-face, because in face-to-face, you have the luxury of time to understand the body language, to review the documents on the spot. But with the online, there's always a barrier as if you're a stranger. And with these tools, technological tools, softwares, recorded sessions, recorded educational, a knowledge-based database where people can go back and forth. And then when they know exactly what they really need, they can come back and generate additional revenue. Uh, and it's not something easy and it's not something difficult. It just needs a huge amount of setup time. And I think the first important point is the experience and the tools that we kept developing was the facilitator for all of this. So I agree that whenever somebody comes and says, I have a new technology and we want to apply, the first thing we say is, what's your business model? And that's what we tackle. And then we go, what's your revenue model? And we do the feasibility study. And then based on all of that, we say, okay, then this is the strategy that you need to do. And based on that strategy, we started implementing things together. And the creation of such tools and such models, I think maybe that's something we're lacking in the GCC in general. And one of the most important thing is that gave us the success in Saudi Arabia is that the tools that we're using are not just theories or tools that we have taken online through books. They're actually tools that we're using on daily basis with actual clients. We have improved some of the things that we saw that there was a gap, and we added value into those tools, and to repackage them into an online consultation service is something I think that the near future would need more of it. And I hope that this session was fun as much as I really enjoyed it as well. I tried to keep it storytelling in addition to the relationship of these tools and how we transfer them to technology. I myself, we work on different other businesses with different technological endeavors, but in short, I think this was the most interesting part, because just adding a technology, which is online webinars, which was long before was existing, but not now, but just now, the whole community had a change of heart on how to see it, which enabled us to develop our procedures and processes into something more automated so that we can maximize the level of consultancy. We always had this bottleneck where we would say, how can I have more consultation clients, but at the same time, they would require more time of the same people, which was the issue. But with this change of heart, with this approach, we were able to actually break that barrier and actually achieve better results. Thank you very much for your interest and attendance. I will leave it to questions and answers, but I'll give it back to my moderator, Doctor. Please, thank you for your time and your
Thank you.
welcoming an opportunity to present our concept to the existing audience and prestige members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nawaf. It's a really excellent seminar, مقعد جامل, really. So you covered a lot of areas, like the importance of consultancy, the technology, utilizing the technology, and a lot of moving a lot of tools that you could be used rather than one tool. وفي نفس الوقت adapt your issues or problems with the tools. And really it is recorded, thanks God it's recorded, we can return back to it. And really interested ما قصرت أخ نواف, really interesting. أعتقد نشكرك الأخ نواف ونفتح المجال للأسئلة في الوقت الحالي. I have I think 2 questions. مستر أول شيء مستر عبد الرحيم فخرو, مستر المهندس عبد الرحيم فخرو, نائب رئيس جمعية مؤسسات صغيرة والبحرينية. تتفضل أخ عبد الرحيم لو سمحت.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أحييكم تحية الإسلام. هلا وسهلا يا إخواني. أنمار والأخ نواف. Welcome. I welcome our guest speaker this evening, Dr. Anmar and Nawaf. Nawaf, he is a friend. He's an old friend. Anmar, I am happy to have you here with us this evening. We had a good experience with Nawaf since years ago. I think since he was himself as an entrepreneur and young entrepreneur And when he started, I was always there, and he was very shiny. I was glad to hear Dr. Anmar and Nawaf elaborating, talking about the future. Actually, we did not talk about today. We did not speak this evening about yesterday. We are talking about future. And this is really the startup for the future, the platform where we are going to fly from. And we are trying to keep our entrepreneurs, our followers in Bahrain, small and medium enterprises with the leadership of Dr. Abdel Hassan Al-Dairi. He's one of the gurus in this business for entrepreneur and SMEs. MashaAllah, he was working for a long time, and he's leading us to help, assist, be available, be ready. I do believe, Dr. Anmar and Nawaf, that being ready is the most important factor for taking off to future, and especially to building capacity with technology today. If we are not ready, or the entrepreneur not ready, the opportunity comes and goes and nobody will grab it. Maybe it will be grabbed in somewhere else. This is what I wanted to say, and I really very happy of seeing you, Nawaf, again from long back.
Pleasure is all
Since
mine.
Nawaf, and please, Dr. Anmar, keep your links, and we would like to follow you as well. You are an asset to the youngsters in Bahrain and the entrepreneurs. Back to you, Dr. Raed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Mohammed Abdurrahim Fakhro Abu Abdullah. Ma Qassar, really, and really we are following your roadmap. Thank you very much, hopefully. And I think we can open the question. I think if we have any question, excuse me, if you have any question.
I have one, please.
Yes, go ahead, Anmar.
If I may. Yeah. First, thank you, Mr. Engineer Abdurrahim, for your kind words. I'm really glad to be here, and it was very enjoyable. Oh, and finally the camera is working. Okay, nice. All right, yeah, but I really enjoyed being here, and thank you, Nawaf, for an excellent presentation and an inspiring story to hear. It's very interesting. I have one question to you, Nawaf.
Yes, sure.
What are the next steps? What the future looks like for you, for your consultancy?
For my consultancy, actually, it's a long-term goal for us to have our own incubator in the future. But before to reach that level, we wish to have a different set of tools that actually really enables the innovation part. I've been through numerous incubators, and we've always noticed that the support was always there. But I think the approach to innovation was the key aspect. And to enhance these tools that will generate innovation is a matter. We have another course that we provide, which is how to become innovative, right? How do you come up with a creative approach? People say think out of the box. I always say expand your box. It's not a matter about thinking out of the box. You have a box already. It's either a technological or a scientific, constraint. It's a financial constraint. It's a time constraint, or it's a knowledge constraint. You might think that you are in a box, but the box is a lot wider than you are. You think that's the only option. I'll give you a quick examples. Some clients would come to us and say, the subcontractor or the main contractor is enforcing me to do an X task. So I'm trying to raise a case, etc., etc. And the solution is actually, who's the strongest person in this whole equation? This company. How's your relationship? I'm their agent. Then tell them to tell him. Within 3 minutes, with one email, they reply done, because they're the upper hand. So why are you doing the whole loopsy-loop? For example, in the case of Hamza Talib, his only lack of expanding was, although he had a huge amount of cash, the lack of information that he had is people that want luxury will not pay peanuts. I just gave him an example of a client of mine who did an RFP. He get 3 quotations, 5 quotations, all of them above the 1,000 of dinars, above 10,000, above 15,000. And one company that really wanted to do it, and I thought they're actually really well talented and they're doing very well these days, but they applied for 1,000 dinars. So immediately he said, this is cheap quality. So people have some misconceptions. So we just, give them that knowledge base, and that whole box expands and explodes. And as you mentioned, you can use any model. The business canvas was just one of the tools. And
exactly, it's just one.
It's just one of the tools.
Yeah.
The triangle model that you're doing, I know one company that keeps using that model constantly and in everything, and it's amazing. And I keep telling people, use any tool you want. But this is my favorite tool because I always try to match the key partners to provide you with additional sales. So what we did, for example, with Hamza is we said, which is the delivery of the value, you should have other people sell the product for you. So just by introducing himself to the court, introducing himself to the specific marketing companies, immediately he got sales. Omega signed with him, Royal Family Weddings was done by him, etc., etc., etc. And it's exploded his whole module. So, and because it's a well-known module, that's why we chose it, because everyone can learn about it, and it shouldn't be a hidden secret. But maybe because me as an inventor, I keep like to develop new things. So what we did is we enhanced some of these models. We have different models which we don't share publicly, but I'm more than happy to collaborate with you if you need anything. But as you mentioned, the next step is actually to redefine the innovative. We came up with new approaches right now. We're trying a few concepts, hopefully with the university. We're going to launch it very soon, inshallah, in Bahrain, inshallah, by next semester. We're going to approach the universities, and it will enhance the vision of consultation. A lot of people think I pay consultants for nothing. Well, that's the whole different model. We want now to change that model to be on a win-win rate. I'll provide you the consultation and you get the result. So hopefully I don't want to expand, but I think this is the future that we should go on.
Best of luck inshallah. موفق يا رب.
حبيبي وياك إن شاء الله.
Thank you. تفضل دكتور، كان دكتور عبد الحسن.
هلا مرحبا، يا هلا، يعطيكم العافيه، مشكورين شباب. ما شاء الله يعطيكون النقاش حقيقه يعني. Both of you, very good, great presentation and a great discussion taking place. I just wanted to share this with you. We have the pull and push theory. Sometimes, or most of the times, people are pushed. يعني خلنا على سبيل المثال, I think the pandemic, it pushed us to use technology, like the Zoom now, for example, and other examples there. How can we use some other techniques to push people to use technology more? I mean, I'm talking about the خلينا نقول business owners. How can we help them, either by pulling them or by pushing them, if needed, to let them use more of the technology, make it a way or a style of business in a way. Let's try to think out of the box. How can we force them, push them to use more of technology and enhance their business? I'm saying this because some of them, if not most of them, for them the technology or the high tech is like مثل جدار برلين, or something can't be achieved or can't be done easily. While it is not that. I mean, yes, some of it is difficult, but some of it can be attained, can be used, can be achieved through different ways. So if we can sort of elaborate on this, how we can encourage them or push them if needed to go for more technology. Thank you. For both of you, of course, the question.
You keep calling me doctor. Thank you so much.
أنا متفائل ما قلت لك إن شاء الله دكتور.
إن شاء الله الله يسمع منك.
إن شاء الله.
3-4
متفائل أنا.
إن شاء الله الله يسمع منكم. Actually, yes, that's a very good comment. And actually, we realized, like from talking to companies, our partners, and it seems that yes, one of the key barriers is actually thinking like that. I have to do like this complex digital transformation, uh, and we keep highlighting that there is nothing wrong with starting small. So just like the fact, and I think it's like important to realize 2 points here. One thing, sometimes people hesitate to learn the new things because they are thinking يعني يقولون يعني ليش نتعب روحنا ونتعلم أشياء جديدة. Why do we bother? It's working fine with us. Why bother change it when we are doing it just fine? It's going to take a lot of time and energy to learn it. But they're not realizing that the value, like, okay, you might invest 1-2 hours a week in learning something, but then the return is saving a lot of time, a lot of resources. So I think a key thing here, a key message is that like showcasing what is the case, what is the business case, really emphasizing what you are gaining out of it. And the other aspect that I would like to emphasize is what we call um, the soft aspect of change management. It's easier for us to tell people to get out of your comfort zone, but in reality, this is not easy. We are used to things. We are a creature of habit. When we are used to something, we don't like to change. It's very hard. So we really need to think about change management issues, how to promote change, how to make the people aspect of it, how to manage the organizational culture that promotes change. Like if I have a manager who keeps telling me that, oh, we are used to doing this, what kind of message I'm getting from this manager, right? I think that's all from my side, but
Yes.
that's a very good
No,
comment.
I agree with you. I agree with you. See, whenever we face this with lots of cases, but in general, we had a recent discussion, me and a few other consultant firms, where we work closely together on a bit mega project. So one of the things we were discussing is that there are categories of management. There are those who know technology is the future and they want to move forward. And they don't know how to do it. They just want anyone to help them to achieve it. And that's the easiest. You don't need to convince them. You just need to point them on how to roll out. And then you have those who don't know how really technology is going to affect and if it's a yes or no to them. And that's exactly as you said, Dr. Anmar, is you just need to highlight the benefits. It's increasing revenue, reducing cost, etc., etc., etc. And then you have the third type, which is the pessimistic. It's going to cost a lot. It's an issue. I don't need this. And these only can get convinced with case studies. It's just to show, well, you know what? I'm not going to go into details. Call a flan. And that's even if he is able to do that. And that's a bit hard. And of course, we have the fourth. The fourth are those who really give us a hard time. They really don't want to use technology. I'll give you a quick example. We have a company that's an SME. They didn't have any accounting system. They're using an old system. We told them, okay, you know what? There's multiple accounting systems. Use the cloud-based. You pay monthly. It's on Amazon. It's on X. It's a multi-billion industry. These are good companies. But he keeps saying, no, I'm afraid it will be hacked. Okay, يعني Toyota uses it. لا, I'm afraid it will be hacked. زي مو مشكلة. What do you want? I've noticed they have an offline version, inshallah. But to connect them, you have to have a private LAN and a server and etc. I'll pay 5,000 dinars. And then even if you get that technology to that level to them, they just keep it and shelved on the door. And so we reach to a level where we see the client and we say from day one, do we want a success story or we just want to sell? If we just want to sell, we're in the wrong business. And that's not something I would like to do. I would like to have a successful story. So when we find these people that are, we know from experience, from the first meeting, if they are enablers, if they are fast adapters, or that's just people that just need that, nudged, and push and pull. But those who are absolutely against it and difficult, we just stay away from them. We just try to give them advice. And we did a few consultations where we had to go to the client and just say, I'm very sorry to say, but the only way out is to shut down and liquidate. And he would say no. And we say, you know what, you're going to be bankrupt. You're going to be da, 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 da. And then we'd be shamed, like you were trying to ruin his business. And then 1 year later, we hear bad news, such as there are cases, he's on the run, he has debt, etc. And it saddens us. It doesn't make us happy that we're right. We're actually saddened because we were there. We were trying to helping him. But, in the end, they're their own people, and it's not our role, to try to convince them day and night and and call him back. We do our due diligence, and that's it. So if you categorize the people to that 4 levels, then each level can be approached differently. And each one will have a higher success rate. But if we treat them all as if it's one group and try one approach, I think then we'll have lesser yield than expected.
And I think the classic example of Kodak, Kodak was actually the inventor of digital cameras, but they decided to keep it on the side because they were profiting from selling films.
Yeah.
But what happened? Like if you don't lead, then you're out of the game.
Yeah, just like the Xerox. Xerox started because HP didn't think that there's a room for scanning, photocopier. Makes no sense. And then Xerox had an R&D and they came up with the menu, the mouse, which they thought makes no sense, and Apple took it. So even those who learned from their mistake didn't really learn. So yes, it's very difficult, So that's why before we provide this free session for that reason, to see the person in front of me, do we have that synergy or do we clash from day one, and that's one of the important parts I think that should be there. And if we have a solution for that through technology, I'll definitely take it. There are, like questionnaires, analysis and things like that, but it's quite difficult to send the client to a survey and a checklist that will take half an hour to assess his mentally capacity and management capacity before approaching. So
I'm thinking while you're talking, I'm thinking, thinking loudly with you now. Out of the box, if we can have some carrots or low-hanging fruits,
yes,
so that it will open the appetite of the SMEs owners, and I'm literally saying SMEs owners and not entrepreneurs, because I think an entrepreneur would have the innovation flavor, spirit.
He's the first category that knows what he wants.
Exactly. So that's why our motto and our let's say mission in our SME society is how we can shift the SME owner to become an entrepreneur through innovation, through technology transfer, through digitalization. And that's why the theme or the topic of the seminar tonight is entrepreneurship and technology in business. So I'm trying to think of some low-hanging fruits, some carrots that will open the appetite for the business owners, that they will adapt the business to get the carrots or the low-hanging fruits, and then by that automatically they will be encouraged to tap on the technology.
Yeah. Try technology now, pay later type of scheme, See, I've been thinking about that. There are a lot of things that if you make the client try it, it will definitely increase their profit and reduce their cost. But the issue will be who would, this is, again, I'm brainstorming with you. This is one of the things that I keep saying. I remember a few months ago, I went to one of the busiest Turkish restaurants, the ones that are in the neighborhoods, ma'ajinatu, shawarma, things like that, pastries and shawarma and Turkish. At the end of the shift, he took out a huge pile of papers and tapping with the calculator. And I've been thinking, with all that, he's generating minimum 20K per month, from my just glancing assessment. And you're doing everything manually. So I just went to him. I said, "Haram عليك, take a point of sales." يقول لا يكلف it will cost me thousands. And I told him, no, it shouldn't cost you 400. Girl, swear. I wouldn't even tell you where. You go find it. You're a good entrepreneur. A few months later, he came with a point of sales and doing orders, which number, and it's just that the misconception, again, as you mentioned. But maybe I would just say one thing is, I think entrepreneurs are mostly people with the correct soft skills and not the knowledge. So entrepreneurs, if you're a businessman or an SME and you need to become an entrepreneur, you should gain the soft skills, which
and
is
the attitudes.
Thank you, which is the attitude. So this soft skill, the charisma, the attitude, the mentality, the courageousness, the way of thinking. So the soft skills is actually the highest. Whenever somebody comes from me from university and says, you know what, I want to start a business, I tell them, stop. First, please go work any place for 2 years. Even if it was free in an internship, choose the difficult job. You need some of the soft skills. You need to understand some of the things and how they work. And the only way to get that is through getting involved in some place. I don't say be, which makes me understand why they say for PMP, you need 2 years of experience, or for CFA, or for a master, or for a doctorate, you need to have some experience before coming. It's because these soft skills needs to be there. So I think it's, and this is the issue. How can you teach someone who's not willing to unlearn and relearn a soft skill? And soft skills are usually developed over time rather than given in a spontaneous position. Doctor, just as a laugh, I was so spontaneously courageous that when I was in university, I was not paying attention. He said, pay attention, you need to do this for presentation. And I told him I can ace any presentation. And he said, you know what? I'll give you an A in my course if you can ace a presentation, 3 presentations. I said, yes. He said, go out of the class, choose any random class, and give a presentation on any topic they choose, the doctor will choose. I said, done, that's an easy A. I went and I got an A. When I came back, I told them, you know why I got, the doctors gave him the review and said he was smooth. The first person I knocked the door, the doctor said, this, I'm gonna need to give a presentation for 5 minutes, you need to choose the topic. He said, students, you choose the topic. Somebody said mascara, football, and I can't remember the third one for the, even if it saved my life, I can't remember it. And I got an A. I told him, do you know what, doctor? I was, 4 years ago, when I was in high school, I was the first ranking in public speaking in Arabic competition in Mamlakat al-Bahrain, and I was the first in English. So I competed. I already had that soft skill. So you played the wrong game with the wrong person. So that's what I meant. If you have the soft skill, it doesn't scare you whatsoever. I remember when, when a client said, you know what, this needs the minister's opinion. We should work with her. And I said, okay, arrange a meeting. He said, I don't know, how should we arrange? I said, I don't know, let's drop a call and send a letter. Next week, he arranged the meeting. He accepted the meeting and we went and we sat. So the point is, if you're courageous and you have these soft skills, it makes life a lot easier for us and I think even for the society itself. So that's why we know when we're looking at entrepreneurs, we're looking at their soft skills. If their soft skills are high, we definitely invest more into them, because we know if they succeed now, they're coming back to us as a client. Even Khalifa, when we gave him that 2 hours free consultation, he came back for branding, he came back for mobile app development, he came for, we generated good amount of money while working with him. So that's my point, it's an investment for you as well.
I have a suggestion for both of you, and probably Dr. Raed can help, and also Engineer Abdul Rahim can help in facilitating this for our upcoming annual 9th. Probably we can have like a session where both of you can be speakers besides some other international speakers, And the aim is that behind the conference, of course, every year we come up with some recommendations. Last year, we came up with 23 or 21 recommendations of our conference last year. So we're aiming to come up with some good and sound recommendations this year as well. And probably one of it can be to come up with an initiative on Bahrain level at least that can be supported by Tamkeen, and you can, both of you can be instrumental in this on how to help or encourage the SMEs to go more for digitalization. I mean, you have 3 months from now till June to think about projects that we can all together with you, we can implement it and can be supported by, I mean, we take it up, for example, to Tamkeen or whoever in Bahrain to support such a project or an initiative that would encourage the SMEs owners to go for digitalization, and it will be attractive for them to break the barriers and tap on. Like an example, what you mentioned, Nawaf, of the cafe or the restaurant. I mean, this is a simple thing to go through technology and use it for, and it's only misconception that led him not to go for it.
Exactly.
And when you opened his eyes, as we say in Arabic, he went for it. So such things we need an initiative to open their eyes and help them, encourage them to tap in for technology and to go for digitalization.
I agree completely with you. And if you remember at part of my discussion, I mentioned that there is something we're launching in September, hopefully with the university. And one of the aspects is exactly what you're mentioning. So we're more than happy to get you involved and to collaborate and do a presentation for you. And I think the SME society will definitely add significant advantage to this initiative as well.
Good.
And I would be happy to support in any way possible. More than happy.
Perfect.
By all means, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, Dr. Raed, you have the mission now. You already have 2 Bahraini young promising speakers for the conference.
Yes, excellent guarantee. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we are on time, and I think there is another colleague or a speaker. He apologized, الأخ هاشم القرشي. فكان المفروض يانا بس له ظروف معينة ما قدر يحضر معنا, so he apologized. And through the chat, I sent the link. With thanks, he sent us a link to a new application. It's called CIITY. So this application is for renting, and it is innovation in digital era as well. And you can go through it, and he'd like to send you the warm regards and all the things. طبعا خارج الظروف يعني ما يعتذر ويسلم عليكم. I think ما قصروا الجماعة, الأخ نواف والدكتور أنمار. Be happy دكتور إن شاء الله. اوكي
ان شاء الله. بركة دعاكم.
ان شاء الله.
موفق ان شاء الله.
تسلم.
ان شاء الله يا رب وياكم جميعا.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you on behalf. I think we have one question from Nuha. Sorry, Nuha. Nuha Hamdan, do you like, before I close it, Nuha, do you like to talk or?
Can you hear me?
تفضلي أستاذة نهى.
Yes, we can.
اوكي. مرحبا. معكم نهى حمدان. بدي مستر نواف بليز بدي اسالك, احنا يعني most of the SMEs or they want to go to this digitalization, but the problem that we face usually is because we don't know exactly how to implement it, and everybody wants to sell their products. So they give you things that you don't use, and you pay for things that you don't need, okay? And you end up spending money for something that you don't need.
Yes,
so how
I
you
agree
can
with
help? how you can help, on your consultation. So how much you have to spend, like we are not knowledgeable for every aspect of our business in the, I mean, in the accounting, the softwares, the marketing, what we should use, how much we have to spend, what we have to get out of our marketing, مثلا campaign or things. They give you and they say to you, oh, okay, this is your luck. You didn't have, you didn't go, they don't give us, they want to sell us marketing, social media and things like that, and you don't get any return on it.
Correct.
So what
You're
is your
correct.
consultation in all of this?
I agree with you. That is why we made it a very strict policy that we don't take any partnership with anyone. We've been approached by Amazon, by Microsoft, by Oracle, by Odoo, by Sage, by Tally, by different software providers and technologies. But as a consultant, I have to be neutral. So that's the first thing is we don't support a specific technology because what's good for you is good for is not good for someone else. The second thing is, which is I highly recommend, is if you don't have an IT, look at IT if it's a construction project, right? You have an architect and then you have the contractor. Uh, what's happening right now is everyone's going to the contractor directly without going to the architect. And this is where
Mm.
the issue. If your company doesn't have an IT department, then you need to go to an IT consultant. An IT consultant makes sure that he has no affiliation to any specific technology. He's not part of a specific vendorship. They offer us huge amount of money to be vanguarding their products. So after that, what we do is within that 1 hour, some companies, when they come to us, their solution is given within 15 minutes. So there is no cost in that consultation. Your success will come back to me in the future for additional services. So we're more than happy to sit with you and to discuss with you what your issues. But selecting the right consultant is something very important. They offer us commissions on sales, kickbacks, numerous things that you wouldn't expect. But we
Yeah, I
have
know, I can realize.
Yes, exactly. So what we do is in our company, we're completely neutral. And not all suppliers are perfect in the end. We should understand that you will have some difficulties. But the most important, every supplier actually is just honest. He just wants to sell a product and he wants you to take advantage of that product. But the misconception sometimes is they don't explain the full implications of the cost, right? And that's the main issue. When you get something, it's not either not complete or doesn't fit you. It might be broken down in a way. That's why, for example,
Yes.
whenever somebody develops any application, he says, I have a company and we want to develop, we strongly recommend to have an IT staff full-time in-house in the company. The source code should be there, etc., etc. There are such rules that we imply that will increase the cost of the project. But right now, what's the actual cost is better than not knowing it and going through it and then being stuck and getting obstacles. We have
But
numerous
what about
cases.
if we cannot have an IT department because we are in a small business
That's
and
what I
we
said.
are.
You need to go to an IT consultant such as our firm, where we will act and sign with you as if we are your IT consultant. I'll give you an example. Right now, I've been working with a client. They just fired the old company and they hired us. So what happened is today we've been seeing some bills, and I said, "This is part of your contract. Why are you paying it?" So we discovered is he's double charging the supplier. So because we're outsourced, we're a third party, we actually think even for the nitty gritty things. And to be honest, the consultants is just like lawyers. It's just like branding companies, marketing companies. It's all about the owner. If you meet with them and you see someone who's honest, who's actually looking at a successful story and not looking at the finance. I always keep telling some of my clients, if I want to make money, I can make money. It's not about making money. It's about building successful stories. It's not about charging you 1,000 dinars or 10,000 dinars or telling you, you know what, give me an advice. I remember one of the one of the students when we gave him an advice after a seminar. He said, "You gave me an amazing idea. This is going to make thousands and millions of money." and why did you give it to me? Am I special? And I said, no, I give ideas to a lot of people. But the thing is, will you be able to implement it? You don't know the much of effort you need to run a company. 3 years later, I met with him and he said, Wallah sadaqt, yani, I can't believe the headache that I went through. I immediately dropped it. Now I know why you're giving ideas here and there. It's not about the idea, it's about the
about
effort.
implementing. Yes.
Exactly. So as an IT company, as an IT consultant, we actually do the 360. What we do is we give the consultation and then we implement the consultation on your part. So you don't have to speak with the supplier. And the way we do it is we do an RFP together, and then we go to different suppliers together, and then we get the right quotations and we help you to evaluate them. And then we give you our recommendation. You make that decision happily, and then we try to roll it out and implement it. If you need, and this is something we do, and this is how I met Dr. Abdul Hassan and Mr. Abdurrahim Fakhro. We were looking for students. So what I do is when we get a new technology, I go to universities, find a fresh graduate who's fit, getting them with the support of the government, with, now we have the National Employment Program 2.0. So it's a huge benefit to have that one IT for 30% of his salary. But again, he's getting his full salary, and you're getting a fresh graduate, and you teach him and he manages it for you for a fraction. And that's part of our role. So for example, just by explaining this to you, you can understand directly we're not a simple IT consultancy firm. We're actually taking the extra miles to make sure that by the time I leave, you are completely dependent on yourself and you don't need me back. We always try to have a smooth exit. We had a meeting this Sunday, and we told them the project duration is 1 year. He said, no, we'll make it 3 years, more lucrative for you. I said, no, that's scary. Why do you need me for 3 years? You should need me. 1 year is more than enough. Why do you need me for 3 years? I don't want to be an employee. So we want you to be successful. We want you to say, I worked with Nawaf, it was great, and we still have a good relationship, and that's why it's much more of an earnest task. It's difficult. There's a commitment. There is, there's an ethical factor. There's a duty factor, and that's why I always say duty, duty, duty. When you promise a client X, you need to deliver X and above, and that's why one of our company's core values is above and beyond. You ask for X, we give you X, Y, and Z, and we're more than happy to help you in your scenario. We're more than happy. Please
Inshallah,
reach out to us and we'll definitely meet.
Thank you.
Yeah, I took your number and just inshallah, thank you.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hopefully, inshallah, have a good relation and connection, business connection. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank you, Nawaf. I'd like to thank you, Mr. Anmar again. Dr. Anmar, Mr. Noha, thank you. Dr. Abdul Hassan. Mr. Abdul Rahim, thank you very much. And would like, if you don't have anything, thank you very much. Wish you a lovely night, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you
very much.
Thank you, Mr. Raed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Inshallah, we'll see you when I come back. I am in Palestine now.
Sure, inshallah. Pray for us.
Next week I'll come to Bahrain. They opened the bridge.
Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah. Salama. مع السلامة.
في انتظارك.
Take care.
Yeah, bye.
Bye bye.